Okay, so we're recording. So y'all, I am glad everyone's here tonight. It's been a minute since we've had a speaker, but I love having speakers because Leanne and I met Rachael in Arizona. And, I was just kind of bragging on you today because I was telling them, I was like, you meet those people that just have this like sweet spirit about them. And it just seem like really genuine, kind people who just love others. Like you just put that out there. And I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable or anything, we don't get too personal here. But, I was just really excited that you were willing to come share because even Leanne made a comment earlier today. Sorry, Leanne, I'm calling you out. And she's like, she loved meeting you and knowing that you are a diamond and that it doesn't take this person that's like this bulldog to go out there and get it done. Like, it's all of us, no matter what our personality or what our strengths are, have the ability to do that. And so I just wanted them to be able to hear your story and maybe some tips that you can offer that have just helped you along the way. So you take it away, girl.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, I'm from the middle of Minnesota. I've been with Plexus. My 8-year anniversary was in January. So it's been 8 years since a friend introduced me to Plexus, and I went home that night and signed right up. I knew this is exactly what I was looking for. Sorry, I'm in my bedroom. I usually am at the table and it's just loud in my house today. So I don't know what to do with my computer, but I'll try to hold it still here. I joined to get rid of an itchy rash on my foot and to lose 15 pounds. And I just giggle and think God was sitting there going, oh, sweetie, you have no idea what I have in store for you with Plexus. And I look now, I've been a diamond for a few years now. And I am not your typical type 3, go get them. If you're familiar with the Enneagram, I'm a 7 with a wing 6. And so I'm like Tigger, who kind of can turn into Eeyore if I'm not careful. I'm just the weirdest mix of people. And I have a team of yellows. If you studied any of the color palette, it's just a bunch of sweet women who love each other. My upline is a red personality. We drive her nuts because we're just always like too sweet and too caring. And I'm like, you know what? I am so thrilled to have a team of people that are here because they're passionate about helping people. And I love that about my team. That also means we aren't necessarily like bulldogging it. And so we have to be careful to make sure that we're doing the things we need to do within our business to make sure that it keeps growing, But I just love this company. We were in Arizona last weekend, and I'm so impressed every time we gather at this amazing company and how much they really are investing in us. I know it's coming. On Sunday, we spent the day as Diamonds and Sapphires being told what's happening this spring. And guys, it's going to be amazing. And what they're bringing to us is simply for us. It's simply to allow us to have a bigger voice in this space of health and wellness. And that's really exciting to me because what they're bringing is what we've been asking for, but they wouldn't have to do it. It's going to cost them millions of dollars for this, and they're still doing it. And I think that's incredible. Like, this is an amazing company. And I love Alex little trademark statement. His little phrase is, when you're blessed, be a blessing. And because our company is debt free, they can make big changes for us, and it doesn't affect the bottom line like it would if we had tons of debt and a board of shareholders and all these things. Like, we're the shareholders within our company. Who has that? Who gets pay points? Who does that? We have such an amazing comp plan. So as you can tell, I love our company, and I'm 100% a lifer, sold out. But guys, when I started, I was thinking about this today. So eight years ago, I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I was battling with depression. I'd been on an antidepressant for about 12 years at that point. I had irritable bowel syndrome. I was starting to develop food allergies. I would eat a kiwi and my throat and my tongue would start to itch. Eat a strawberry, throat and tongue. It was like, what's happening? But I was in my 40s. So I'm like, oh, old people, we just start having troubles. And so I just thought it was because I was in my 40s. I was crazy. I would yell and holler and rage at my family and then feel awful and cry and pray and talk to my kids and say, Mom, so sorry, I'll never do that again. And the next day, my patience was about that long and I would get mad. I had such a quick temper. And it's crazy that that was linked to gut health. Who knew that? Who knew we can be better moms when we take care of ourselves and we address our gut health? That's incredible to me. And 8 months into my journey, a friend at school, we were at a soccer game, sitting out in the chairs at the soccer field, and a friend was asking me about Plexus. So I was telling her, and my little girl was 12 at the time. She was sitting in front of me on a blanket, and she turned around and said, "You're just happy now, Mom." And I was like, what, sweetie? And she goes, I don't know. You're just happy now. And I went in the outhouse and cried. Like, my little girl knew she could see her mom. I just felt better. I wasn't battling with migraines anymore. I didn't have headaches anymore. I broke up with my couch. That's what I always say. I broke up with my couch and started living life again. My husband taught me to ski that spring. I wanted nothing to do with anything like that because I have a bad back. And I was so afraid of re-injuring this old back injury. So I wouldn't do anything. I just sat in a chair and watched everybody do everything else. I began to live life again. And that just makes me emotional because I think I don't miss things anymore. I jump on into my snowshoes and take off with the dogs, and we go sledding. And my husband taught me how to dive off the diving board this year. That was hilarious. It was it was sad and pitiful, belly flop, but I tried to dive. I tried to go like this and make it beautiful. It was more like this, but I would have never tried something like that. My kids taught me how to swim that first summer because I wasn't afraid anymore. So I remember jumping off the pontoon, and I'm in Minnesota. We have lakes every half a mile. There are lakes everywhere. We have lake property, primitive lake property that we share with my husband's family. My kids taught me how to swim that summer. And I think they were just like, what is going on with Mom? Like, she's playing with us. And I wanted to play with my kids, but I hurt, or I was too depressed or too stinking crabby to care. So I isolated myself a lot. I skipped family functions all the time. I just wanted to stay home on the couch and watch television or hide out in my bedroom. And so our life is so different. It's so different. And I'm so grateful. And you guys, at the same time, my husband's like Dave Ramsey on crack. He hates debt. He had us with these money envelopes from day one. He took our wedding money and paid off all of our credit cards when we got married. We didn't go on a honeymoon because he paid off all my debt instead. And so our real honeymoon was when Plexus paid for me to go to Maui. And I brought my husband, and guys, he hadn't even tasted Slim at that point. I'd been with the company for a year and a half. We were in Maui on Plexus dime. He still hadn't tried Slim. He loved me, but he thought this was all crazy. And you know what convinced him? If you study the Enneagram, he's a type 5 on the Enneagram. He's Spock. If you've ever watched Star Trek, he's Spock, just logical man. We went to convention, and that year they had the Plexus lawyers come on stage and talk. And I was like, what is this? And Keith got so excited about the company. He's like, this is legitimate. You guys have like company attorneys. And I'm thinking, this is what got you excited about our company. He's an engineer. Lawyers, like, babe, I'm living life. And you don't even care about that. This made Plexus be legitimate to him, not his wife and my aunt throwing away her Neurontin pills, my best friend at church throwing away a 30-year Vicodin prescription. Like, those were the things that made me excited about Plexus. Keith needed to know it was the real thing. So if I could give you a tip, women, if your husband isn't into this, he's not supportive, you're telling him all the things, can I give you the best advice? Stop telling him. Leave him alone. Let him watch. There's a verse in the Bible that says when you're trying to be a witness to your husband, do it with your life, not your words. And I think when I shut up and quit telling Keith all the things, trying to convince him and just let him watch the journey unfold, he was paying a lot better attention than, in his ear all the time, because he didn't care. He thought it was a placebo effect. Yeah, Sonny threw away her Vicodin, but she thinks she feels better. So of course she did. And I have a great hubby. I love him to death. He's my best friend. But that's my best tip for women, because we all want our husbands to jump in with us, but some of them really don't care, or they really just are not ready. So just let them watch you. That's my biggest tip and takeaway from my own journey here. But also, really quickly, we were swimming in debt. So I have Dave Ramsey on crack, and we had a daughter need her appendix taken out. My son tore his rotator cuff, needed tons of therapies. He didn't need surgery. It wasn't that bad, but that meant tons of therapies, tons of ultrasounds, going in a couple times a week to get it worked on. And then my husband tore his meniscus. So in a year and a half, we had 3 really big, giant medical bills, and that kicked our butt. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul. We were giving, like, you don't just mail the hospital a check. This department wants a cut, and this department wants a cut, and this doctor wants it, and that. And so we had a chiropractor drain our health savings account, and we were really in big trouble. And so we were making minimum payments on everything. I started using credit cards to help cover expenses, school supplies, Christmas, because we were throwing everything at this debt. And my husband was stressed up to here. So imagine poor Dave Ramsey if all of a sudden they were losing everything and had to go back into debt. That was poor Keith. And so my first check was, I got to think about it. It's been a long time. I think it was $42. And I remember calling my upline and saying, Wendy, I got this check from Plexus today, and I don't know why, because I haven't done anything. I had signed up. My mother-in-law signed up to get the products. My sister-in-law, we actually shared an account. We split at the time it was $34.99. We split the fee and we ordered under the same account. Don't do that, by the way. Don't let people do that. I didn't tell my upline I did that. We just did that on the side. But, and I ordered some stuff for a friend. And I said, Wendy, if Plexus made a mistake, I can't afford to give this back. And she's like, I promise it's not a mistake. You can cash the $42 checks. So we cashed the check and we went to Applebee's and like whooped it up, right? The next check was $175. A couple more friends joined me. I'd gone silver. And I remember that day clearly. I have 3 children. My son was a senior in high school. My daughter was a 9th grader. My youngest was 12. We went to Walmart, and I let my son pick his own bag of cereal that he didn't have to share with his sisters. And that kid, he had an orange coat on. I still remember him going back and forth, looking at those giant bags of Multi-Meal, which we don't even eat those anymore, but he got his giant bag of Multi-Meal. He didn't have to share it with his sisters. And my girls used to share socks. My daughter was in basketball. She was always needing, like, Nike socks are crazy expensive. Every time I had to buy her basketball socks or basketball shoes, it kind of put a pit in my stomach because I knew we couldn't afford them. And so we would just maybe skimp out on something else at that time. They got to go get their own pack of socks because my girls are 5 years apart, and they would share a pack of socks. So somebody's socks were always too big or somebody's socks were always too small, and they got to go get their own pack of socks. And I remember them like grabbing hands and heading off into the girls' department to find their own socks. And then I stood in the organic food section in produce by Walmart, and the kids were getting stuff. And I just remember thinking, Keith doesn't have to worry about groceries this week. Like, I got it covered. And little by little, we started paying off our debt. Every time I got a bonus, we would use that as a family to go do something fun. So we have this lake property that we share with this family, like I was saying. So my gold bonus, we took that and went to Dunham Sports, and they had kayaks, buy one, get one half off. So we got 2 kayaks for the lake, because my kids were a big part of my business and a big part of my dream. So I could use my bonus to go do something fun, because we're using my income to just pay down debt. So those kayaks, they're still out at the lake. We drag them out in the summer and all the cousins share them. And I think that's just something fun that we could do with our family to bless them and have a blast that we wouldn't have otherwise. We wouldn't have done that otherwise. We would have not spent that kind of money on something just for the summertime. Summer's kind of short here. Like, we can't use our kayaks year round. It's maybe June to September, and that's pretty much it. So that's kind of an extravagance for us. It was at the time, and my business just kept growing. And like little by little, like I said, we just built this beautiful team of people who love to help each other. Lyme disease is prevalent in my area. I live in a county that has one of the highest rates of Lyme disease in the nation. I don't know if it still does, but it did when I was growing up. And when Lyme became really prevalent, it's really active here. I have so many people on my team that have been helped with their Lyme disease because of ProBio 5. Those enzymes, along with the probiotics that we have, those strains, can get in there and crack open the biofilm around Lyme disease and get in there and consume it and kill it. And so ProBio 5, BioCleanse, and Slim are huge for people with Lyme. And that's a really big chunk of my team because they started living again. My aunt that threw away her 30-year-old in the rotten prescription has had Lyme disease for almost 40 years. Her body was trashed from it. And Plexus is the first thing that actually helped her. And she was able to throw those painkillers away. And she took them 3 times a day. She just took it in the morning to get out of bed. And she still was not living a life. If she washed dishes, she was on the couch for the rest of the day. If she took a shower, she was on the couch for the rest of the day. She could choose one thing to do throughout the day, and that was it. That took her down. And this again makes me emotional. She calls herself the jungle gym grandma now because her grandkids can crawl all over her and it doesn't hurt anymore. And those are the reasons that I kept talking about Plexus, that I kept telling people what I had found. But honestly, guys, I think the transformation in myself was so obvious because I went from this grumpy, hurting woman who was constantly running to Starbucks or popping 6 extra strength Tylenol behind my desk every day, a couple times a day to get through my day, to someone who was smiling and jumping up and no longer hurting and no longer suffering and having fun with life. I would have people stop at my desk at the school I worked in, our kids' Christian school. I was at the front desk. I was the office manager person. And they would be like, what are you doing? I don't know how many times I was asked that question. What are you doing? And Plexus, I think, is one of the first companies, like the ambassadors, you really use Facebook to social sell. That really wasn't happening before Plexus that I noticed. And so, I mean, I use Facebook for Farmville and to talk about people or talk about my day, not talk about people. I hope I didn't do that. But when we began talking about this pink drink, people were like, what in the world is going on? And it's just brought us just the best life. I'm so grateful. So I just talked really fast. I talked in 100 circles because I was trying to cram so much in there. But if you guys have questions for me, like I would love to share, but I love this company. So I think if I would say, so the husband thing is my favorite tip. When I got to Ruby, guys, I didn't know if I could do this. I'd been working my tail off, got to Ruby, and I was like, this is kind of hard now. I realized that me just having fun as a yellow and a blue personality, enjoying what I was doing, it was like, this is hard now. And I don't know if it's worth it. I remember feeling that way. And I don't know if any of you are at that point where you're like, this isn't super fun. Can I tell you, you probably are about this far away from a major breakthrough. There's probably something that just doesn't feel right in your spirit. And I wonder if maybe there's a rough edge that God's trying to sand off. And it usually happens in this space when we just kind of can stop and think like, whew, I need a break. This is hard. I found often right on the other side of you not quitting, there's like explosive growth, or there's like a huge breakthrough. There's something really big happens for your life or for your business just on the other side of that. So if you would trust me, if you would trust Kendall, knowing when you hit that wall, just press through it. Don't quit, because we don't get anywhere when we quit. You'll go right back to where you were beforehand and maybe further back if you let that hard time beat you down. But I know that through belief, I am huge in positive affirmations. I am huge in speaking life over yourself. I'm huge in, I got post-it notes everywhere. I don't so much anymore, but I had one on my computer that said, I am enough, and $100,000 in my savings account. And I'm trying to remember what they were. I bring tremendous value to my team. Like, I had to remind myself of those things. These were goals I had, and these were things that I knew I wanted to have. And so I wrote them on post-it notes and I stuck them everywhere. I had a dream board on the side of my fridge, and I let my kids help me make it. So kayaks were on the dream board, chickens were on the dream board, a house with a front porch was on the dream board. If you follow me on Facebook at all, come spring, I now have a house with a front porch, and I spend most of my day there. And that's because of Plexus. We have this home that my income pays for. My hubby doesn't have to make a mortgage payment anymore. He hasn't had to pay the mortgage in 5 years. I was a part-time secretary at a Christian school, like a little Christian school, not like this elite, $3,000 a month Christian school. It was a little Christian school. I make more now in 1 month after taxes than I did in 1 year at my job at that little Christian school. And so that's crazy to me. That's why I'm so passionate about what I have, but I didn't always believe that. And so I think if you're struggling with belief, if you're at a point where you're like, I don't know if I can do this, Kendall, will you just have a conversation with her? Because she's further down the road than you, and she's got some experience behind her back. She has a whole bunch of tools in her pocket that maybe she hasn't needed to pull out for you before, but they're there, and she's there to help you. And so never be afraid. Don't think she's too busy to talk to me. That's not true, right?
Hear that all the time.
Yeah, we're always there, but people assume because we're jewels in the company or we've gone so far that she doesn't have time for me. But I bet that's the furthest thing from the truth. And when I get those messages from people, I'm like, I'm never too busy for you. So, but again, I just talked really fast in a lot of circles, but I was trying to pack a lot in today.
No, we appreciate you. So you have to go in 5 minutes, right? I didn't ask if you're
same time
zone. Okay. I didn't know if you're Central Time also. So,
yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say really quickly, I remember that meeting or the convention with the lawyers, because that actually spoke to me. That was a big fear of mine, with liability. And when there were lawyers, I was like, oh, yay, I'm not liable. Like, I felt so great. So I respect your husband for that.
That's awesome.
But I just wanted to ask really quickly. I mean, I love you, first of all. You're just so sweet. I love your spirit. You just have a really good spirit. But like, I think a big thing that a lot of us struggle with, I know I struggle with this, and I think regardless of your personality type, or whether, like, we're going to talk about this on book club, people, but high energy, low energy, no matter which kind of person you are, self-motivation is like a key thing that people have to have success with this. You can't be motivated by other people. You have to self-motivate. So do you have any tips on just how you kept yourself, even in the hard times and the struggle, like you stayed self-motivated to continue trying to learn new things and move forward?
Yeah. Well, I think having my kids be a part of this, having that dream board that they built with me, was really a kick in the pants. And my little 12-year-old daughter asked me all the time, what are your points, Mom? So she wanted to go to Maui. She wanted that to happen, and she believed that it would before I believed it. And so she was the first kid that I was like, we're taking Belle to Hawaii, no matter what happens. So include someone who's a cheerleader for you in your dream, because if they are checking in on you, if they are asking you where you're at, for me, there was no way I could let her down. So that was probably the biggest thing. And guys, I'm always learning something. If I'm in the car, I have an audible book playing. If I'm in my bathroom getting ready in the morning, I'm listening to a podcast. I've got an Alexa in the kitchen, so I'm always, hey, Alexa, play this podcast. I love to listen to an intermittent fasting podcast. I can help people with health questions because I'm educating myself about health, but I don't have to be an expert because we can find anything out with a quick Google search. Yesterday, I had a woman tell me my thyroid meds aren't working anymore. Couple questions later, in a quick Google search, she was taking her Slim a half hour after her thyroid meds for a whole year, and she was supposed to wait for 4 hours, and she didn't know that. So we don't have to be an expert. Google lets us be an expert. Tip number 2 of the day. But I think just, and also while we're sharing our dream with someone that's going to check on us, quit sharing it with people who are going to crush it, who don't give a crap. Don't tell them anymore. It's none of their business. If you have someone in your life that's always being a jerk to you about Plexus, quit talking about it to them. What I find funny about that, those people in my life kept bringing it up to me, but I stopped bringing it up to them because I knew they were crushing me every time. My brother started calling me the doctor. Oh, the doctor, just ask Rachael, she'll know, and I'm like, shut up, Russell. But I just stopped talking about it to him because I knew he didn't believe me. And guess what happened this winter? I got a phone call. The doctor received a phone call asking for help from my little brother who thought I was nuts for 8 years. And now he's like, I think I need this. So you never know. They're still going to keep watching, but quit giving them a reason to be a jerk to you.
I love it.
No.
I love it. And I agree. When I heard the saying that leaders are learners, they're lifelong learners. And I mean, and this is just, this is my 8th year, and this is the first year that I've actually taken personal development seriously. And y'all, it's hard because I'm like, oh, it's hokey, and I like fiction books. I don't like nonfiction. And I've never been able to listen to a podcast or an audiobook for longer than 5 minutes without getting bored by it, right? But it was getting in the habit of doing it daily that now it's rare I go a day without it.
Yeah.
And it's what keeps me focused and showing up every single day, feeling like I have something to offer, because I know me, and I know you probably as well, have those days where fears creep in and doubts creep in. And am I equipped to help people? Am I equipped to do this? Can I do this? And it's when you plug into things that are actually speaking truth instead of letting this little evil thing up in our head take over, that's where you can keep going past that. So
absolutely. And you might need an affirmation. I hate to learn. Well, quit saying that.
Yeah.
I'm learning to love to learn. You don't have to lie to yourself. Some people are like, that affirmation is not true. I love to learn. That's not true. Okay, how about I'm learning to love to learn? Switch it up, so that you're not automatically saying no to yourself, but speak life over yourself, guys. That's huge. When you quit talking smack to yourself, you start believing in yourself. And it's 8:30, so I got to jump out of here. But thank you for asking. I just had a blast. I hope I didn't hurt you guys' brain, and I hope I gave you something of value. But
very much so. We really appreciate you. Yeah, we'll see you later.
Take care, guys. Have a great night. Bye.
You. Bye. Okay, does anyone have questions? I don't want to just throw y'all off. I mean, I could, but if y'all have questions about any of this, I can always ask her later if y'all have anything that you wanted to ask her and she had to jump off fast.
How do I was trying to find her on Facebook. How do you find her on Facebook?
So it's Rachael. So it's Rachael. And then it's like her maiden name is squished with her last name. It's like Mole. It's Mulholland. And then Anderson. It's Mulholland Anderson. So Rachael Mulholland Anderson. But I'm going to pick her brain a little bit more just on, I love finding from others things that are inspiring vision on their team and casting vision for their people and helping, build belief. And like, I don't know, I'm going to pick her brain a little bit more on that. Leanne, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
For her is, what is the, what does she do for like faith? Because she said she never used faith. I was going to ask her, but she said she never used Facebook before until Plexus. And I wanted to know how she uses it now.
Oh, well, you should go stalk her page. She is really good at her story.
How do you spell her maiden name?
Mulholland. Mulholland. I can send you a screenshot of her.
I am not finding her.
It's Rachael. Here,
Oh, I have it switched.
but yeah, I can send that to you guys. But yeah, Leanne, you can go look at her Facebook page and her stories, but I can pick her brain as well. And I mean, and that was me. I didn't use social media for anything.
Well, I wanted to ask her, like, if she sent out like a lot of direct messages and like how she went about doing that. Has she been on, how'd she get to where she is on Facebook now?
Yeah. Okay.
Like, did she do direct messages? Was she using garage sale posts? Probably not, because that's Joanna, like, just recently, but like, is she using, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just what kind
Like,
of
is
she use social media for?
yeah, absolutely. Was she getting into different groups? How did she grow? Because it sounded like she's from a very small area.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. How did she branch out from her tiny
Yeah.
little network? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can ask her that a little bit. Does anyone maybe have anything they want to contribute of something that's either working really well for them right now, or maybe I know a lot of us went to Align and learned a lot and grew a lot and were forced to grow a lot. But we haven't had a chance to hop on here because we all got sick with the crud afterward. So does anyone maybe have anything that they've kind of like come back from that with and really applied or want to apply, maybe because you've been sick with the crud, you haven't had a chance to. But I know one-on-one I've kind of been chatting with you guys, but does anyone have anything that maybe they want to share that they took away that, you know, it was just really impactful and they'd love to apply moving forward?
From Align?
From Align. Leanne, I know you have like a long list of things.
There's so much.
So much.
So many things.
Much.
Pick one. Pick one.
Okay. Okay, so my one would probably be okay, can I say two things?
Okay.
They'll both be very quick. The one thing that really stuck with me was when Dave Hollis said that we are one of one. Like, that was just huge to me. I guess I never saw myself like that. Like, that was like
our uniqueness.
Yeah, like the God created us as like we are it. Like, you're a limited edition. There's never going to be another one. Like, that really stood out to me. I know that's kind of crazy because it's like not a business thing at all, but it just really stood out to me because I don't know. I guess I never thought of it that way, or like thought about my kids that way, or
we always compare ourselves to other people and see what we lack.
Absolutely.
I think that's why that struck home, because I remember that clearly, because we're always thinking, well, if I just had their personality, or if I just looked like that, or if I just had that network of people that had more money than my network, or if I just had a bigger network, right? Like, we think all of these things, and then we think we're
so it also, I'm just going to chime in for a second, but it also, like, it made me think about, you know, there's a certain amount of people that I'm going to be able to influence and I'm going to be able to help. And then there's a certain amount of people that, like, Leanne's going to be able to influence, and Leanne's going to be able to help, just because, like, different people are drawn to different personalities and relate to different people better doesn't mean that, like, and I mean, I might, because I've been struggling lately with, you know, I've had some like hate with like family and friends and stuff in the past couple of years, mostly about politics. But
I thought you were going to say multi-level marketing, and you wrote that with
politics. Well, that too. But I mean, but there's also there's people that love me, and then there's people that don't like me, and I'm just like, we're one of one. Like, there's gonna be people that, and I just have to be myself. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Right, you're the painting girl. I mean, some people will pay $1 million for a painting, and other people look at it and think it's trash or junk or whatever.
Right.
You know,
I love that
analogy. That way.
That's a great analogy.
But for real, like, I mean, I've been to different like auctions and like different, you know, art shows, and you're like, I would not pay that for that. And someone else is like, I got a steal.
Yeah.
This is amazing, you know? So.
Well, and it makes me think of when Brooke said the 4 SWs. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Yeah. So some are going to want this from us. Some are not going to want this from us. Maybe it's because they are drawn more to someone else than us, whatever. But so what? Because someone is waiting. There are people who are going to be impacted by us and what we are doing. And so we've got to lean into that, you know.
What's your number 2, Leanne?
Okay, that I need to work on myself more than I work on my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need to turn down, like, I just need to talk to 2 people a day. 2 people a day bring success my way.
I love it.
Instead of being like, I mean, not that I'm not doing, I'm still doing all the things, but I need to do more of intentional and more like, instead of just like busting my behind to get 4 or 5 or 6 hours, that's killing me and making me not love it.
Yeah.
If I go into it with a happier heart, I'm going to get better responses, I think.
Yeah.
So this is a good little segue to book club. So book club, we're either going to do Wednesday or Thursday at 1:00. Those of you I haven't connected with, I'm putting this out there, Wednesday or Thursday at 1:00. Esther's like, yay.
I can't do Sunday.
I know, I'm so excited too, actually.
These are hard, but that's one of the things that we're talking about in one of the chapters this week, is that you cannot hope to connect with others unless you first connect with yourself. You have to pour into you and know who you are before you can hope to impact others to get into action, to make a change of themselves. And so often we look at this business as busy work, right? Like, what are the busy things I can do to get me to where I want to go? And it's hard to be still and just reflect on ourselves and pour into ourselves and read the books and do the things, because it doesn't feel like busy work. It doesn't feel like you're actively moving a goal. But I'm telling you, the busy work, it's easier to do if you are centered in yourself. If you've, like Brooke talked all week when we were at a line about self-care, getting your body moving, drinking your water, taking your products, having quiet time, being intentional with your family away from work. Like, I think that was my big takeaway, is more self-care. Because I love pouring into y'all. I love pouring into my business. I love my job, even though there's things that are not my favorite thing, but I do love this job. Like, I'm excited when our co-op's canceled, because I'm like, I can work all day. And it's not because I'm a workaholic, it's because I love what I do. But I have only loved it like this year, when I finally started pouring into self-development. And when I finally started pouring into positive trainings that are just breathing life into me, so that I can then pay that forward. This is in 8 years. This is the first year, the middle of March. Rena knows the middle of March is when I just had this moment where it was an awakening that I have to do the things that everybody's been telling me to do. And I'm not talking about IPAs, but all these other things of self-love and self-care. I have to do that first, or I'm gonna be miserable, right? So,
Well, and just like, I mean, just in the call tonight with what Rachael said, I mean, it totally shifted. Like, I don't know, I've been kind of stuck in this, like, I need to get to Emerald. And I'm like, I'm stuck at Senior Ruby, and like, I need to grow my points. But like, just listening to her, it took like that mentality away from me, and just like, no, I just need to help people. You know, that's really why I'm here, is to help people. And I honestly don't care about my points. I mean, yeah, I want to help my family financially, but I really like helping people.
The hardest way to reach your goal is alone.
Yeah.
Is the hardest way. So if you are helping other people hit theirs, and that's really where even what she talked about, listening to trainings, like I have it on my list tomorrow. We had Motivation Monday, and Amy Kosmowski, however you say her last name, she did Motivation Monday, and it's specifically on this. And so it's on my list tomorrow to listen to other people that will teach you how to teach your people. Like, that's what those trainings are for. Yes, they teach you things, applicable in your business, but they also teach you how to teach that to other people. Yeah. And so committing to plug into that stuff is going to make it even easier, because you can have that awakening of, I need to help other people reach their goals. But then we were like, oh crap, how do I do that? Like, and then we're stuck, And so digging in and learning and just committing to being a learner helps all of that work itself out. So that's my challenge to y'all. Let's all listen to the Motivation Monday. Okay. I got the text already I think it's just the text reminding me. I don't think they've sent out the text.
Yeah, they don't usually send out the thing till the next day.
Yeah. So
If it even comes, like sometimes it's even a little bit later that it comes out.
yeah,
Because I
you
know
can-
I listen to
like
it.
2 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon on
Yeah.
Tuesdays. It comes out for
Why
motivation.
don't I? How do you get those text messages?
Text train me to 753-987.
I did that a long time ago, and then I never got a.
So I did it too, and somehow I opted myself out of it, but I get the email, which I actually prefer the email.
Yeah, they'll do both. If you do the training,
Yeah.
they'll do both. So
Okay.
I encourage all of you guys, if you text train me, so like Carol, I don't know if you've done that yet. I don't know if everyone on here has done it, but it's all caps, no spaces, TRAINME, and text that to 753-987. And then you'll get all of the corporate training texted right to you, all the recordings. And then Rena, were you waving because you have something? I think you're muted. You're muted, honey. Oh, wait, no, I can't hear you. Oh, your speaker's not working. Oh, maybe God was helping you not say something. Who knows? She looks like she's about to explode with what she wants to say, but her speaker's not working. Okay, well, I love you. I don't know how to help you with that. So,
You see no sign language?
well, hey, I took 3 years of sign language, but I really doubt that Rena knows sign language. I think I would fall over in shock if Rena actually knew sign language. So, oh no, Rena, we're not doing this, operator. I love you. She's trying to send me a voice message to play for y'all. We ain't that kind of time, sister. It's important. It's important. So we'll pass it. We'll pass it in the team chat thread. Is it that important, Rena?
Why I have you guys on is since most of you guys went to Align. Whoever wrote down everybody's address, will you put that in our Align chat? Take a picture of it.
Yes, I would love that.
Esther, did you or Alicia?
It was Alicia.
Okay.
Can you
Oh,
get
okay.
in from her?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Rena, I don't know if you're sending me a thing. I think she's on the phone now.
Alicia
I'm
is the
just
queen of
very,
sending notes. I am not.
Jara, are you trying to say something? Or is Rena probably messaging Jara? That's my thought. Because she knows I won't do it. She's like, Jara's the sucker. I'll get her.
Sure, do it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, ladies, we have recorded all of this off script craziness. I love you guys so much. I have missed y'all. So I'm really thinking, as far as book club, I'm really thinking we are probably going to move it. Crap, who did I last talk to? I think we're moving it to Wednesdays at 1. I think is when, so I had talked about just doing it like this week's Wednesday at 1 and then starting back up on Sunday. But I think, at least for me, Sunday nights and Monday nights are hard doing both in a row. Because
Yeah,
I'm
like we
prepping
talked
both,
about.
and then it's just 2 nights away from our families. It's hard. I know not everyone can do daytime, but unfortunately, there's never going to be a perfect thing for everyone. So I will record it, and then we'll, evaluate for next time to try to find the time that works best for everyone. Arena says the recording is up on the Plexus New Ambassador Academy, the recording of the Monday motivation call.
There you go.
So we can find it there too. But anyway, so put that on your calendar. When did I say? Wednesday at 1.
Wednesday.
I don't know.
So Wednesday at noon my time.
Yes, Central Time, 1 o'clock. So whatever time zone y'all are in, there you go. I hate time zone.
Is it 30 minutes or an hour usually?
It's usually about an hour because we cover 2 chapters. So to get through 2, it does take about an hour, especially because I love.
What chapters are we on?
We are on 9 and 10 this week. But I mean, whether you've read the chapters or not, it's fine. I mean, obviously read the chapters, they're great, but if you haven't.
I have the book and I've been reading it. It's just, I don't have it on my Audible.
Yeah.
But I actually have it. I've been reading it at night. So.
Yeah. So even if you have a week where you haven't, I recap it all. So that way it's fine either way. So, okay, y'all.